Yo, this is Sparing Myself the Pain, a rundown of all the negative things that I'll miss out on by being a marriage free and child free woman. Let's get into it. Painful thing number five, child custody. Having a life that revolves around a custody arrangement just really doesn't sound like a life at all to me. You're trying to deal with, okay, if you're divorced, you're dealing with kids who have potentially behavioral issues because of it. They got emotional, psychological issues because of it. Okay, maybe they're in therapy, and then you still got to deal with your ex and his family. Like their grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and that sort of thing. Um, yeah, but it sounds hard to have any kind of a social life when you're dealing with something like that, or even having a life period. Like if you want to go spend the weekend somewhere, but it's your weekend to have them, and it's like if they're really young, babies, toddlers, that sort of thing, if they're too young to be left home alone, then you'll just have to suck it up. You have to take them with you, or uh, cancel your plans. You want to go on vacation and say your friends are going to the beach for a week or whatever. They invite you, but you can't because it's your week to have the kids with you, and kids are just not welcome on your girls' getaway. Your girl trip. You don't want to be that asshole who just shows up with their kids in tow to ruin the whole trip for everybody. If you have kids, please don't ever do that. If your friends make plans and they don't specifically tell you that your kids are welcome, don't just bring them. It's you're dealing with your social life being disrupted by having to keep like playing hot potato with these kids, and then there's the financial issue on top of it. It's like, okay, if your ex is paying child support and or alimony, but it's not actually enough for you to maintain the same standard of living, then of course you might have to move. And I can imagine that causing some issues with like space and privacy if you go from living in a house to living in an apartment. Even if it's like a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, you don't have a yard anymore. The rooms are very close together, so it's not like you can really escape from each other. If you're living in a fairly decent sized house and you want to escape, or like just have some kind of privacy at all, you can like go outside. You can go into like the garage if you had one, if you had like a finished garage, or if you had a finished basement, finished attic, something like that. But having somewhere where you can just take a few minutes to yourself, to like not have anybody bothering you, talking to you, asking you for anything. But if you have to like downsize to an apartment, then of course you would just be inches away from each other almost at all times, and that would drive me completely insane. And also, if their father has like some issues, gets sick, injured, whatever, has to travel for work, then that could like put a dent in your plans as well. It's like you're saying, oh yeah, he's gonna have them this week, so I can go and do this with my friends, or I can get this done in the house. I can repaint the living room while they're out of the way, and then he's just like, oh, he gets sick, or he falls off a ladder and breaks his leg or something. So now, your plans have been ruined, completely destroyed. You're going to have to put a lot of things on hold. I mean, you have to kind of put your whole life on hold when you have underage kids. But of course, when they're being, tossed back and forth between households due to a court order, then it's like you don't really have a choice. If you ignore a court ordered custody arrangement, then that could cause some legal problems. I'm pretty sure the judge wouldn't appreciate it. And it's like, there's the issue of like the kids preferring to be in one place over the other. If they're babies or taller, they might not care that much. But if they're like tweens, teens, they're old enough to have an opinion, they might prefer one household over the other and try to fight against being forced to send to that household that they don't like. If they prefer being with their dad for any reason, they might act like little assholes when they have to be with you, and that would kind of piss me off. Or even vice versa, especially if they end up with a step parent. I'll get into the whole step parent thing in a different video about blended families. But yeah, if they have a step parent over there who tries to like bribe them with gifts or money or trips or whatever to try to turn them against you, that is a thing that could actually happen. that the kids just decide that they would rather stay over there because they get free stuff out of it. They're gonna just turn their backs on you because they get gaming consoles or fancy clothes or whatever the hell. And would I be hurt? Probably not, because I am an introvert. So, like, if they want to stay over there, great. But I can imagine some people are just like feeling really, really betrayed by something like that. If their own kids to say that they really don't want to live with them anymore. And other issues that can pop up due to custody arrangements, of course, is that you don't have any kind of control over what goes on in his house. Say, for example, if he allows them to stay up as late as they want to. I mean, like little kids, not teenagers. Teenagers know how much sleep they need. But little kids who, really need to be going to bed at around 7 or 8 or something, letting them stay up stupidly late, letting them, eat junk food for breakfast, letting them eat cookies or, ice cream for breakfast, buying them whatever they want whenever they ask, being that whole fun dad bullshit, men who just they want to be liked by their kids so much that they just let them do whatever they want to, acting more like a friend or like a big brother. And then, of course, when they come back home and there are, rules and regulations that they have to abide by, they're going to just be super, you know, upset about it. They're going to be pissed off about it because, of course, it's like, you're 8 years old. You're not going to stay up until, 11 or 12 o'clock at night on a school night. During the summer, sure, why not? But during the school year, knowing that you have to go to school, no. No, we're not doing that. No, we're not gonna eat chocolate chip cookies and ice cream for breakfast because that is a ton of sugar. It's just not gonna happen. I know it sounds hypocritical to say, well, I've actually eaten ice cream or cookies for breakfast myself, but if I ruin my own health, then that's kind of my own problem. I'm not gonna. When you're a parent, you're not really supposed to ruin your kid's health or encourage bad eating habits because it can affect them later in life. So, you encourage them to eat healthy whenever possible. And cookies and ice cream first thing in the morning is not, it's not ideal. But, and it's also dealing with like getting them to spend time with extended family, like your grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and things like that. To say if that it's their time to be with their dad. Okay, they're over there with him, and then one of your parents or one of your grandparents falls ill in the hospital. You call him and you're like, my grandmother is in the hospital. Can you take the kids to see her? And then he's just like, no. It's my turn to have them now, so just no. And then if their grandparent or great grandparent ends up dying after he refused to let the kids see them one last time, then that can create some issues too. And I am really, really glad that I'll never have to deal with anything like that. Remember, your life is yours to live, and you don't have to explain yourself to anyone ever.